Welcome back to Market Day Report. I am still Scott Shelly, otherwise known as the Cow Guy. Thank you very much for tuning us in if that's what you're doing. If you've been with us all day, it's my job to make you stay. So hopefully that's worked out too. We might be getting a little help from corn and beans. Why don't we see what they're doing right now? But they were higher earlier and they still are. Maybe they come back a little bit. 6 cents higher in D's corn, 681.5, 10 cents off the lows, about 3 cents off the highs. So pretty good board still. 5 3/4 cents higher in March. 689 3/4 is last. All right, so that's 5.5 cents higher, 688 3/4. Sorry. Let's take a look at soybeans, see what they're doing there. Soybeans were kind of up the same. They are still 6.5 cents higher in the Novi beans. 1364.5 is the high, and you've got, or no, it's not the high. We've got 4.5 cents off the highs. Jan's last trade 1376.5. That's up 6 cents. All right, so that's not bad either. As we move over to say wheat, what's going on the wheat? Chicago wheat market is a little lower by a nickel. 5 cents lower in the front month. That's D's 874 even as last. 1.5 off of the lows. Trading heavy as we go into the last part of the day here. 4 1/4 cents lower in the March to 888.5. Hard red wheat in Kansas City. What do we got going on? Well, we got a little something for everybody here. We call this a smorgasbord, right? D's is down. 964.5. We've got March sharply unchanged. There you go. 962.5. And we're higher in the deferreds. May's up a penny to 961 even. The old smorgasbord, something for everybody, right? Spring wheat, and this is in Minneapolis, 4 3/4 cents higher in that D's contract to 967.25. 4 cents higher in March to 973 3/4. So not too bad there, but still closer to the lows of the day than the highs of the day. So we got to watch if that gets any heavier. And then we'll move over to cotton. Look at this, finally taking off. Found a little bit of wind beneath its wings. 112 points higher in that D's contract to 84.02. All right, and that brings our next guest in. That's Todd Horwitz with Bubba Trading in Las Vegas. Thanks for being on the show here, Todd. Do you have anything?
Always great to be with you, Scott.
Yeah, give us.
They're doing exactly what you and I do.
Give us some of your wisdom, brother. Give us some of your wisdom. What do you got going on? And he froze. All right, there you go. Well, maybe I'll take it from here. Kind of a quiet day. I think that the market's tired. I mean, we had our first guest on from CHS up in Minneapolis, and I would agree with a lot of what he had to say, but really the market is really ultimately traded by people. I know that there's a lot of technology involved, but we can start to see things kind of slow down as we get towards the end of the week like we're seeing now. There's not a lot of change every half hour when we go back to these boards or every 25 minutes when we check on things. So it just feels like to me the market really is kind of hovering around. We don't see any big buyers or big sellers come to the market all at once. It's just kind of waiting for the weekend. Now let's bring back in Todd. I think his feed came back up. There you go. You had to put another quarter in the meter. Thank you very much for doing that.
I can't afford it anymore
That's
because
right.
of the high inflation.
Thank you for putting that.
Oil go.
Thank you for paying that power bill for us. Okay. What are your thoughts real quick?
I mean, look at oil go crazy higher. You got every problem you and I talked about. They built up to this jobs number, and the markets everything's getting clobbered and going against the best interest of farmers and the people, which is markets are getting killed, and everything else that goes into our food is going higher.
I'm gonna throw something at you. I had somebody on the last guest we had on. He told me, he's a broker, that in March wheat in Chicago, 225 of these spreads traded. March, $25 to $30 call spreads in March wheat. Now we're trading at $9 in March wheat, right? Somebody bought 225 of them for 7/8. It's like $10,000.
I mean, could it get there? You know, if you remember back
that's a nuclear bomb trade, right? I mean, that's
I know,
insane.
but if you go back to 2008, in Minneapolis, we got to $24.
All right. I mean, you guys.
I'm not saying, look, I think you guys thrown away $10,000, but overall, I do expect $15 a week, though.
I was in college in 2008, so I don't remember those days. So I'm just
you're a young guy. You're not an old man like me who's ready for Social Security.
All right. All right. Well, just thought it was interesting. Anyway, we got to go away, pay some bills. We're going to come back and talk more with Todd Horwitz. He's with Bubba Trading in Las Vegas. We'll be right back after this. Let's go. All right, welcome back to Live Cattle, and this is actually Market Day Report. We're going to go check on Live Cattle. Let's take a look and see what those prices are doing in Chicago now that I've got everybody on the edge of their chair. December is up 30 cents to 148.17. We've got, say, Feb right behind it, up 25 cents. Very quiet day. 151.87 is last in Feb as we go into the last hour of the day. How about feeder cattle? They're just a little lower, actually, and we lose a little bit more real estate as you go out the defers. We're only down 40 cents in Nove to 176.02, but go out to, say, March, you lose $1.15 to 178.75. And then finally, lean hogs, let's talk about those for a second. We're down 85 cents in that D's contract to 76.92, while Feb's down 50 cents to 79.80. And let's get back to Todd Horowitz, Bubba Trading. Thanks for sticking around. Todd, anything you want to say about the livestock?
Well, I think it's probably going to head a little bit lower here. I don't think it's going to be a disaster, but I think it's probably going to head a little bit lower. I mean, the overall economy is once again showing some pretty good weakness. We know there's a rate hike most likely coming. Oil prices are up $4 today. So, those are not good signs for that part of the protein complex. And hogs have been pretty solid. So it's not a surprise that they're selling off a little bit this morning.
Yeah, well, and you have to worry a little bit about rate hikes in the economy and what the Fed's going to do to things by killing demand. And I think that probably also is weighing a little bit heavy over there, don't you think?
100%. Again, we're creating, this is a man-made mess for no reason, which is really a sad statement. And of course, as we know, OPEC cut production yesterday, and who knows what their plans are going forward. And we've got an election on the 8th of November. There's a lot of stuff out here that could go either way and could make markets really react in a pretty crazy way, depending on what happens.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's no telling. I mean, obviously the volatility has been high, and there's been a lot to worry about all over the place. I would say that corn and livestock and grains, they've kind of held in there though compared to whatever else.
I think they're great shape. Listen, I think the grains are going a lot higher. And I think the meats will hang here, and I don't think they're going a lot lower. It really will come down to what can people afford. And of course, If the grains get too much higher, then that will also start to cut into that value of what we can afford in the protein complex. That's the big combination, grains and oil.
All right. Great stuff. Really appreciate you coming on. Todd Horowitz, he's with Bubba Trading in Las Vegas. Thanks very much for taking the time on a Friday. We're going to bring it back here to Nashville so I can throw it over to Suzanne one more time.
Scott, thank you.